So good morning and welcome to the session on Certification Memorandum about Development Assurance, the CM-DASA-002. So I'm Gabriele Melia and I'm Development Assurance and Safety Assessment expert, and I was working in drafting DCM. So during this presentation, we will talk a bit about the background that was leading us in creating and drafting DCM. Then we will dive a bit more in the content. We will talk about the applicability. We'll talk about how we deal with the management of the changes, always in the frame of development assurance activities. And we will discuss about what to do in case of installation of certified products and authorized articles for the aspect of development assurance, of course. And then we'll briefly talk as well about the next steps, which are to come. So just as a reminder, or just as a background, this project, so the project of drafting the CM on development assurance aspect, system development assurance aspect, it was launched based on the need to clarify and to provide visibility on the applicability criteria for all class of products for the development assurance. This was following a lot of discussion that we had project per project, product per product. So we decided that there was the need to give a bit of clarity on our expectation. And it was also one of the highlighted outcome and need of activity to be performed as results of the 737 MAX lesson learned investigation that we performed in EASA. Of course, this was not the only activity that we performed in order to address this. We have done other activities in the last couple of years. You might have seen some updates of the AMCs to the CS25, 27, and 29. And there are some other activities which have been performed or which are ongoing, which are also linked, for example, on the definition of the criteria for novelty, criticality, for the development assurance, and in order to define the LOI. Now, when we look at the timeline, this project started in October 2022, and a working group was created with participation of ASD representative, and also the GA representative were consulted on the draft of the CM. So finally, after almost 1.5 years of work, we went for public consultation on the 14th of February of this year, so 2024. And after 2 months of commenting, we closed the commenting phase on the 14th of April 2024. So now we have worked extensively in answering all the comments. We have worked in updating the CM to reflect the suggestions, and we aim a final publication in Q4 of this year. So it should come in next times. Now, going to the content of the CM. So as we said, the first need was to provide visibility on the applicability for all products. So this is the main, so the core part of the CM, the core content of the CM. Another thing that we did, we clearly addressed the management of changes, including the major changes, not limited to the significant major changes. And of course, in how to deal with development assurance in the frame of such changes. We took also the chance to add clarification on development assurance activities which are expected when integrating a certified product or an authorized article. We did explain what are the applicant independent review, as this has been a lot of time point of discussion in the frame of projects and changes. We restate what are the expectations for the certification authority coordination. And this is due to the fact that, as you might know, in the revision B of the ED79, which is the standard for development assurance, this section, this aspect has been removed. So for us, it's very important to have it. That's why we reintroduce it in the CM. And then we gave visibility on the use of previously recognized development assurance standard, so namely the revision dash, revision A of the D79, as now we have the revision B. Now, the CM is addressing all products. The products which are not addressed in the CM are the light UAS sail-free, the control and monitoring unit, so the CMU, and the system which are used for the enhanced containment principle from SORA 2.0. The reason for that is because at the time of drafting the CM, the EASA position internally was not clear on how to deal with these products. Also, what I would like to remind you, as said at the beginning, this CM is dealing with system development assurance. So it's not dealing with development assurance at the item level. So the software is dealt through the MC20115D, and the hardware is dealt through the MC20152A. Also, the CM is not dealing with the safety assessment process. It has a link with the safety assessment process, but it's not dealing with it because we have already enough guidance material through the MC of the 1309-2510. So the CM, the draft that was proposed for consultation was defining 3 categories, and products were finally ending in one of the categories, at least. The 3 categories were defining the level of development assurance that has to be applied and the system which have to be following the development, what are expected to follow the development assurance activities. The first category is the so-called full DA. So the products which are in this category are expected to have development assurance applied to all complex systems, and typically through the means of using the ED79B. Then the second category is the one called SAM-DA, and the products that go here, they have a refined scope of development assurance and also in terms of system for which it is applied. For this SAM-DA, nowadays there is no industry standard available, and we will come to this in a couple of slides. And then the third category is the one for which no DAs or no development assurance is expected, unless, of course, there are some critical systems which are embedded, or there are some novelties and non-conventional systems expected. And for this, typically, we do still expect a minimum amount of activities. So as we said, all the products were finally categorized in one of the other category, and there were some products which could end up in 2 categories. And guidance was given in order to finally determine which was the final category for those products. So this is what was proposed back in February. Now, following the commenting phase and following some discussion with some groups, we decided to go for a more flexible framework to determine the applicability of development assurance for the products of the CS23 and 27. So the new framework, the new approach has to be based on criticality, complexity, and level of integration of systems and products. It has to be proposed by the applicant through an analysis that has to be submitted to EASA and agreed with EASA. And the initial guidance that it was in the proposed CM through the flowchart is still there as initial guidance if the applicants will need to know which aspect they will need to have to take into account for performing this analysis. What we did as well, we launched an harmonization task with other authorities, such as FAA, TCCA, and ANAC, in order to harmonize the approach in Europe, in Brazil, in Canada, and in the United States. Now, when we go to the management of changes, what we did, we added some guidance on how to treat changes to products. This is based on the complexity and the criticality of the change, which is needed in order to determine the development assurance applicability to the change itself and to the system part of the change. Again, What is very important is that an impact analysis has to be performed, of course, by the applicant, because the applicant is the one knowing the scope of the change. It has to be submitted to the agency, so to the EASA, and has to be agreed with the EASA. And of course, the process which might be already in place for the initial development of the system might be shown to be adequate through also this impact analysis in order to be kept used to perform this additional change, which is under consideration. So another topic that we addressed in the CM is the guidance provided for the installation of propulsion system and for the installation of ETSO and TSO. This additional guidance is limited to the integration aspect of those products and articles in the final aircraft, in the final product. So it's focusing again in additional activities on top of those that need to be performed already in the frame of product certification or article authorization. And in addition to that, especially for the TSO article, there is a section which is giving an highlight on how credit can be given to activities that has been already, environment assurance activities, of course, that have been already performed in the frame of ETSO article authorization. Now, when we come to the next steps, so of course, the first one is to finally go for publication of the CM-DASA-002. We will definitely put a lot of effort in continuing harmonization with the FAA, TCCA, and ANAC, not only on the scope of the applicability for the SCS 23 and 27, but in general on several environment assurance topics. We will support the standardization work on the SAMDA standard, which is not existing for the time being, and which is in discussion for nowadays with the STM. And of course, we will work then on update of the CM-DASA-002, following the initial feedbacks, following the initial return of experience of its application, and also, of course, to introduce the products which are nowadays not included, such as the Light UAS cell-free, the CMU, and the system used for the enhanced containment. So, and that's it from my side.
Thank you very much. So it looks like we have no questions in Slido for this presentation. Is there any question from the room? We will have time for one. No.
Maybe just one question about, at the last CMT, we discussed about the harmonization group between the different authorities. What about a modification which is under development now, certified today, with the agreement with EASA, and of course the rest of harmonization which is not yet in place with TCCA, FAA, and ANAC. So you have already in mind something to try to for this interim project, let's say, how you manage.
So nowadays we're still going on as we did in the last year. So with this is a case-by-case discussion on the project. So this is what we are doing. Of course, we make already aware the applicants that the CM is out, the principle of the CMs are there, they are known to the other authorities. So if we follow this one, we have, especially what is of interest for you is when you are applying for validation of your products. Nowadays we have to find a way to streamline this, to ensure that you reach certification in first place, but also that your validation is ongoing. So nowadays we keep going on with the means we have in place. Typically we have CRIs for projects, so we keep using them. Then of course, when the CM will be out, we will discuss with every applicant on how to move on that, what are the improvements that are needed, because every applicant is different. So there are applicants which are already taken into account to follow already the CM, although it's just proposed. We have the CRIs, we have to analyze, based also on our experience of our involved in the projects, what are the improvements needed in the companies in terms of process and so on. So we will have, of course, we will have a time in which we have to collaborate, we have to discuss, we have to talk together, and we have to find the best way in order to apply the CM afterward. Can you expand on the aspect of the CM that EASA are working to harmonize with TCA, FA, and ANAC? Okay, so as you might know, nowadays we have an SCI on development assurance, which means nowadays the level of harmonization in general with FAA especially is very low. So simple answer to that is every aspect. Specific answer is there are topics for which we know, let's say there is not much discussion. Applicability to CS25 is pretty straightforward. So the first focus was put on harmonizing the approach to CS27, CS23, because there is where we have, we realize there are more differences, so we need to harmonize. There was a stronger need for harmonization. After that, there are as well some topics which are ongoing in parallel, which are anyway steered by the working group S18 and working group 63, which are working on some AR, for example, in defining what are expectations for the applicant to perform their internal reviews and how to involve the authorities. So there are already some other activities which are ongoing and which are under the, for the time being, they are under monitoring of the working group on SAE and EuroCAE.
Thank you, Mauro. So we will go over to the next presentation now. Mauro, you can come to us, Fernando as well, I suppose.